Hope everyone's doing good tonight. So, for tonight's topic, we're just going to get right into it. We're going to be talking about, I would say, a topic that not many people try to guide new traders, not really try and emphasize the importance of this kind of material that people need to learn pretty early on. And it's just the overall idea of positive self-talk. So, just like every topic that we start with, I try to give you guys a quick, different perspective as to how a newer trader and a more successful trader with visual results, obviously, they take the idea of what positive self talk really means. I know when I first started trading years ago, I never really understood kind of the concept of like, what do I tell myself after a good or a bad day? How do I keep a positive mindset? How do I always remain happy and content with my results, even if I do end up quote unquote losing for the day? You really have to not change your mindset, but readjust as you're growing along in the process. A lot of stuff is very interesting with what you come across because as you grow, more stuff that you never thought about starts to become like a realization of I need to switch this to make this next step happen for me. And as you trade, obviously the goal is to make more money, but to make more money, you have to find those loopholes of what is holding you back from making X amount more, or maybe even being able to size heavier, the concepts that not many people talk about. So like for new traders, and I always love to speak on self experience. I don't like to give scenarios of stuff that I can't personally relate to. I always like to give a good, heartfelt, like one-on-one talk for everyone, just so they understand that I'm speaking from more so like the emotional side of I've been there, I've done that, and I've gotten to this point already. When I first started, I would never actually like be happy with anything I would do. I'd make like when I first started making money, not consistently, but you make money, then you lose it. Then you make money, you lose it. You have to reload the portfolio. Everyone's been there at some point. So during that whole process, I was never excited about a result because I would see other people making more money, not realizing at the time they're sizing heavier than me. They have more leverage to basically make a less percent gain, but make more money overall in a trade. And I would let the end point of a trade confuse me. I want to understand, why am I not happy? Is it because of this person making X amount? Is it because when I'm focused on the overall view of trading, I just want to grow to where they're at and I'm not appreciating where I'm at and what's going to have to happen every day to grow to get to that point. So I would never be positive about a day. I would make $100 after never even having a winning trade, not realizing at the time if I can make $100 within let's say a 30-minute time frame. For some people that's a whole day's of work. They don't even get to keep that money. So if I can make $100 in 30 minutes, back then I never really appreciated that. The fact that I'm able to, whether it's at home, I'm out and about on my phone, I'm making money I don't deserve, and I never appreciated that. I would never tell myself like that, this is a good day, you should be happy about the results. You just made $100 in less than an hour. Some people can't even do that with a job that they go to college for. So I never appreciated it. And at that point, I was always chasing that feeling, that euphoric feeling of like, I want to make this reality. I want to make this work. I want to make more money. So I never had that good job today. Like, you should be very happy about this. And since I never did that, I never grasped the idea of why that's so important, why that would help me get to where I want to be. I'm not a type of person that's like, I want to be here in a week. I want to be here in a month. I'm always thinking 3 years, 5 years from now, like, how do I want to get to the point of making, let's just say, $10,000 a week in a 5 year span? That's more realistic than saying I want to make $10,000 by next year when you're barely making $500 a day right now. It's kind of a hard adjustment to make very quickly. So as I started to comprehend the fact and reach out to newer traders, figure out what they are doing to consistently be profitable and actually be happy to promote losing on the day, or maybe they barely made money, but they're still happy about it. The concept of readjusting your mindset, you're not changing anything. You're just learning along the way as you grow. So that positive self-talk, as I started to get more aware of who I wanted to be, what I wanted to be a realistic standpoint in trading, I would be happy with basically everything. Once I found out that system, win or lose, I planned for both sides. So for me, I had to readjust my mindset of, if I lose, I'm not upset. I lost. I planned for that specific loss, whether it's X amount of dollars, whether it's if the chart breaks this level, I have to get out. When I respect the plan that I had before entering a trade, win or lose, I successfully stuck to the plan that I planned for, that I anticipated would happen as a result. So I would be positive about that. When I would journal, I would tell myself, you said that you were going to risk, let's say, a 30% stop loss. You sized, let's say, $1,000. So I was expecting to lose $300 no matter what. My worst case scenario, if I follow what I planned, I'm losing $300. Then obviously, if I size $2,000, I'm risking 600. If I size 3,000, I'm risking 900, so on and so forth. So as I adjusted, notice how I keep saying adjust. I'm not changing anything. I'm not throwing a system out the window to change the whole thing because something like it's not just one thing's not working. The whole idea is not coming together. I'm readjusting as I'm growing in the process. So as I figured out, okay, so if I'm expected to lose $300 and I sell for that loss, if I'm upset about that, if I'm telling myself this is a horrible day, I'm so pissed off at myself, I plan to make this happen and I'm still not content. So then I have to break this down. Okay, so what do I have to do to be positive with myself? Do I have to size less? Do I have to make my risk even tighter so that if I only lose $100, I'm content with that? As I figured out what I can risk and still smile end of the day, whether it's a money amount or a percent amount or just the overall idea of if I risk $200 today, I know I can make that back in one trade the next day. Risk the reward. Maybe for every 3 losses, 1 win is still break even for you. You have to figure that stuff out. So as I comprehended why I had to do that, what made me realize, okay, this is what has to be done, I would lose and be happy. And my positive talk, my positive journaling that I would note for myself, you told yourself you're going to sell for 30% loss. You followed it. So you lost what you were predicted to lose. That's a successful trade in my eyes. That's what I've like basically readjusted my thought process and how I look at viewpoints when I trade now. So when I have losing days, I know people that don't understand that. It's like, well, you were red on the day. Why are you not upset? Well, I plan to only lose 30% of this sizing. So like I was saying earlier, if I size $1,000, I'm expecting to lose either 300 or the reward side happens and I make X amount that I planned for. So as I followed that, I'm basically reassuring myself every day when I lose or win, you stuck to your plan. You made it work the way you said it was going to happen. This is a good day. You should be very happy with yourself. You should be very euphoric about what just happened. Don't feel bad about it because you lost. Like, oh my gosh, I'm red on the day. I planned for it. So yes, it's like a negative effect of you're rewarding yourself for being like losing money on the day, but you have to realize when you trade, there's no I'm guaranteed to win every time. Because if you think that way and when you do lose, you're either one, you're going to sell for a loss when you said you would, and you're just like, okay, I lost, it's whatever. Or you go red and you're telling yourself, I'm not going to sell, I have to be right. Next thing you know, you're down 40%, you're down 60%, the trade's at minus 95%, and you're just thinking, I should have sold at 30 now. That is the trade you should be very unpleased about because there's no positive reward out of what just happened. You didn't follow the plan. You lost more than you were expecting. Now you're probably mentally distressed about I have to make back X amount of dollars now. Like the ball just keeps rolling. You're not pushing the ball up the hill. You moved over to the side, and that ball is just rolling right back down the hill. Now you have to restart from the bottom and push the ball right back up. You have to stick to the discipline. So replacing negative thoughts with the positive. Energy is extremely important. And I'm not saying the whole I mean, everyone's different. Everyone has their own viewpoint on like what energy is, but the idea of just understanding, okay, if I have a positive mindset, if I'm coming to the table today and I like mentally realize, emotionally I realize I can lose or win today, but I can manage both sides. I can limit how much I lose and I can basically maximize how much I win, probably with a stop loss. Maybe you trust the trends that are happening. You hold longer just because the trends are holding. You're not going to sell because, oh, I'm up X amount. You're only trusting the chart. When you think positive, no matter what happens, good or bad, you try and keep that same mindset. It truly helps, and it's very hard to do. I know a lot of people, and not just like this is outside of trading now. I'm very heavily invested in like life overall and growing as a person. When you're positive, when you have positive thoughts in life at all, I'm talking like when you go to work, when you go to a family event, when you're just out driving, your day just feels better. Like just thinking like today's gonna be an amazing day. Oh my gosh, look at the sun outside. Like maybe it's raining and you're just like, it's so nice to see rain. Like when you think about what's around you and you're happy about it, your day is just better. It's very difficult to have that switch go on and off, whether you're trading or real life or you're around people that you may not like. But replacing those thoughts just makes everything around you feel very, like, not content, but you're just very pleased with everything. Even if you're having a bad day, you can think about it's going to get better. Today's going to get better. I just have to keep telling myself that. When you're trading, you have to come to the monitor, your phone, the laptop, whatever you're trading off of. You have to like be prepared for red or green, but in a positive manner. You can literally limit your losses and maximize on the wins. And you can take 4 losses in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you lose every time, one trade a day with managed risk. And say Friday, you just have one of those days. In the past 4 days of losses, you just made break even back off of one trade that you sized correctly. You didn't oversize because you lost the last 4 days. But that one good day just basically took away stressing of the past 4 of you being upset you lost. Why dwell on that stuff? Why look back and think, man, I've lost all week. I need to get this money back. Just come to the screens, have that positive energy, and just realize, okay, I can win or lose, but the loss won't be like massive. I can manage that. And if I am on the right side of the trade, I have to look at the chart, not let the P&L basically change the way I'm thinking. Oh my gosh, you're up X amount of dollars this fast, just selling it out. Like, who cares? What is the chart doing? Be patient with it. Keep that energy going. Don't freak out because you're in the moment now. Keep that clear mindset. Let the chart do the work and just keep thinking positive about everything. So again, with replacing negative thoughts with positive, one of the biggest things for me that I would say was like a huge drastic change, whether it's family or friends or just people at your workplace that you put effort into or you talk to, you really have to look at the people around you. And it's very difficult for some people to make these changes. It took me a while, but when you truly are very heavily invested in what you want to make happen in your life, there's things that you'll do that other people will look at you crazy, only because they don't have the guts to make change to improve themselves and drop people around them that are keeping them like in chains with where they're at right now in life. There's no growth. If you move above them, they try and pull you back. So many things are going to restrict you from being positive in life when you surround yourself with people that drain your energy. They keep you grounded where you're trying to elevate higher above them. A lot of people find that is like jealousy, or like you're trying to outwork them when you're just trying to put yourself in a better position that you see happening. I don't know about many of you guys that are listening right now, but one of the biggest things that I always think about is when I get to 50 years old, 60 years old, whatever the case may be, I don't want to look back and think like, man, I wish I would have tried this. I wish I would have went harder with this activity I was trying to make work. I go heavy and I always go like giving my all with everything because I don't want to have no regrets. So I'm very picky about who I keep around me. I'm very picky about the people I put my energy into, because a lot of the stuff that we do, and I'm sure like a lot of you should be able to relate to this, as traders, we have emotions that people don't understand that never tried this. Even some entrepreneurs that haven't been involved in something where literally you control everything. Like, there's no customer you sell to. You are your own customer. You buy and sell everything to make money. Some people can't relate to this. So venting to certain people, they're going to throw negative things at you. You tell them like you had a rough day and like you're just struggling. They're going to tell you, well, just go get a job and give up. But you know deep inside, like, I'm not just going to give up. Those people that throw these negative thoughts at you, eventually your mindset's not going to be thinking what you truly want. You're going to come to the realization of maybe they're right. Maybe this is a waste of my time. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't take a year. It doesn't take 2. I mean, some people don't even get this in 5 years. But if you think about it, no job gives you returns like trading. No job is going to make you, let's just say, $200 a day at a 9 to 5, 10-hour days making 20 an hour, however you want to do the math. And then a year later, you're making $5,000 in a day. No regular job can just give you that kind of promotion with pay or whatever the case may be. This is a job where you can make it happen. And it's going to take sacrifice. There's going to be people you're going to have to maybe cut out of your life, or just limit who you talk to, or just limit what you talk to them about. There's ways to work around this, but some people, they just don't get the idea of like what you do, they can't comprehend. It's not like you're bashing them or like you're not smart enough to get this. People don't understand the emotions that comes with trading. And that's one thing I had to learn from my own family, from friends I used to hang out with, from coworkers that I used to tell this about to. once you start succeeding, once you get to a point where you know what you need around you, people think you're changing as you make money, when in reality, it's not even you're changing, you're just elevating past them. And they can't grasp that fact. They don't understand it. And they're just going to talk and talk, and they're going to try and pull you back down. And that's one thing for me, I really had to adjust with and make those changes. And I still do, obviously. Everyone has to make those changes. You meet new people, you try and find growth in places you may not like actually get that reward right away. So you have to like back out of it. Stuff will happen. But that's why like positive energy, keeping those negative environments away from you, it truly does come into effect when you come in the trade. All those thoughts in your head, you have to be clear minded and very stable with what you're going to do on the day when you trade. So learn from mistakes and don't dwell. I'm pretty sure everyone here, when you miss a trade, or maybe you go into a trade, you sell early and it goes green, so many of you, I guarantee, this isn't like I'm just assuming because I've been there. I still feel this way sometimes, but I'm literally past the fact of like, if I miss a day, today's a perfect example, I get upset. Man, today would have been like the life-changing day. If I just would have held longer, man, if I just would have entered, I could have chased at any point and I still would have made money. You have to understand not every day is going to be like this. So you can't just like dwell on what just happened and try and repeat that. You can't just enter and say, I'm not selling. You go red, oh, I'm not selling because last time I was red and I sold, it ran 500%. I'm not missing that today. When you don't learn from these mistakes, yes, you missed the play. If you even want to say miss, I love doing like the quote things with like, oh, I missed it. Man, I wish I would have got in. All you're doing is basically putting a false scenario in your head of I could have made X amount of dollars. I would have entered at 1.5. They're at 30.0 right now. I guarantee no one's going to hold that long, but they put that scenario in their head of, man, I could have turned in a $150 contract into 3,000. So many people do that. And then the next day they see the trend happening again. They enter and never sell. They're up 100%, but they never sell because they're focused on what just happened. And guess what that's going to do? Maybe it only goes 500% and that's as high as it goes. And then you're thinking, man, I wish I would have sold for 500. So then the next day you sell for 500%. It keeps going. Now you're back in that mindset. Man, I should have held today. I messed up again. You have to understand you're not losing, you're not missing, you're not like failing to understand that you're in the trade and you sell too early. There's a system with this. You're not going to hit every trade like 100% or let's say 1,000% gains, whatever you want to look at it as. All you have to do is manage the risk and sell green. Don't worry about what you missed out on. Don't dwell on any of that. It's negative energy, negative case scenarios in your head. You're putting the story together. You're assuming it's going to happen. The only way to grow is from the mistakes if you let that happen. So many people lose. They're done for the day, whatever. I'll come back tomorrow. They repeat the same mess up they just had the day before, and they lose again. Now they're pissed off. They're wondering why they're losing. They're not learning. They're not understanding when you make a mistake, you don't do it again. That's one less mistake that can happen now going into the next day. As you take out those mistakes, as you readjust, you're not changing anything. You're just readjusting the system. Eventually, you have no more mistakes to make because you know what not to do and what you have to do. So learning starts with losing. I'm pretty sure everyone here, whether you paper trade or you started to learn by paper trading or you started to learn by just going right into trading with real money, you only learn when you lose. A lot of people, when they don't start, like they start off, they just have like one of those hot streaks. They're making money. You don't learn anything when you're making money. You just repeat what's been making you the money because that's all you know. You're not learning a new strategy. You're not learning what not to do. So you have a win. Okay, I'll do the same thing tomorrow. You win again. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. You never know what to do when you're red. You don't even know how to manage a risk because you're only selling green, which is good. But then when one bad thing happens, you hold that trade and you probably lose, let's say, 2 weeks of gains from one major loss. People don't understand that until it happens. And then when they lose, they're not looking to like, okay, what did I do wrong? What do I have to do to grow from this? All they're focused on is two scenarios. There's always two scenarios to every trader. They either want to make back what they just lost or they're upset and they just want to quit. That's how most losing traders look at the scenario when they have a red day. There's never the fact of What do I have to not do? What did I do that made me lose? So when they're focused on this, you have to understand that dropping past thoughts, those are going to basically alter your present thinking. Every time you think about the past, oh, I should have held, oh, I should have bought in when I said I was, you're going to think that way going into the next day when it may not be the smart or logical standpoint when entering a trade. If you let the past thoughts or like anything from like historically a trade you took, maybe you held red too long and it went major red, you slowly start to realize what you have to do to keep the losses minimized. You're not going to risk the whole account. And that's because as mistakes happen, you learn, you readjust, you take that mess up that you had, you don't do it again. That's one less loss and mistake you have to worry about now. Yes, you're going to keep losing, but if you just repeat the same thing over and over, you let those past thoughts keep your present thinking how they are. There's no growth, there's no change, there's no different perspective of how you're looking at things. You're going to keep losing. You're going to win every once in a while, don't get me wrong. But in a year from now, how is the growth going to correlate to what you're actually doing? Are you going to be profitable? Are you actually withdrawing money? Or are you just reloading the portfolio every few weeks, maybe even every other day? You have to understand the market's not going to be the same. As you lose, you're going to start learning. That's the most painful thing to really come to the realization of. And then when you have these past thoughts of what you wish you would have done or you wish you would have done different, you're not going to think logical in the moment. You're letting the past affect the present. The past can't help you. All it's going to do is help you readjust to what you have to do now. Learn from it, forget it, and then work like you're in the present right now. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about where you could be next week. You have to live in the moment and have like those present thoughts. And then the biggest thing that I like when I help anyone that's new to trading or they want to learn this off the bat, I always tell them you have to realize you're going to fail when you start. No matter who helps you, no matter what mentor you have, no matter how much drive you have to make this work, you are going to fail when you start. It sounds very harsh. I know when I tell some people this, it's like, damn, you don't believe in me. I'm like, no, I believe like in everybody, but you have to understand no one just comes into this and wins forever. No one comes in here and just makes money overall and never has like heavy drawbacks or ever blows a portfolio. You're going to lose when you first start because before you start to learn, you're going to have to lose to know what not to do. Someone can tell you, hey, as a mentor for you, this is what I recommend. I've never seen anyone just follow what a mentor says and they just start making money out of nowhere because all you're doing is taking advice without knowing the emotional side of what could happen red or green or like what you have to fix for your personality. So you're going to have failure along the way. Even if it's overall you're losing or you're just having red trades, you're going to have a failure at some point. And it's not the side of thinking, man, this is always going to happen or I'm never going to get this down. Like I was talking about when we first started this video, you have to think positive. Yes, you can have, let's say you lose 10K within a 3-day time frame, and then the next 2 days you make 20K. I'm saying big numbers, so let me size this down for people to understand better. Maybe let's say you lose $300 in the first 3 days of the week, and the last 2 days you make 500. So overall you're up $200. You ended the week good. So I guarantee you're going to have a positive mindset going into Monday. So let's switch around the scenario now. Let's say you start the first 2 days making, let's say $500. And then the last 3 days of the week, you lose 300. You ended the week bad, but you're still overall $200 up on the week. A lot of people, they're not going to think about overall, I'm up this much. They're stuck on, I just lost. I have to figure out what I have to change. That is how you have to feel. Yes, you were green overall. Congratulations. But you have to fix what made you lose 3 days. What can you do to improve that? What can you do to maybe switch the scenario around for next week? How can you limit those losses to maybe lose less money? A lot of people just take the I'm green overall. I'll come back next week. You can't just let that like past results just affect what's going to happen. You still have to work hard. You still have to review your trades, understand what you can improve on, both red and green. All that stuff is very important. So I'm going to read some stuff in the chat real quick. So Chris said, yep, today really pissed me off because I'm a perma bull. All my plans to the upside played out amazingly if I took them. So yeah, today was one of those days, and just like I was just mentioning earlier, I I'm not speaking on this because uh like I know how people feel. I'm literally speaking on how I have dealt with this. I would miss trades that go. I'm talking like I would have made $100,000, $200,000 in a day if I would have held longer, if I would have sized heavier. Sometimes I'm in the trade sized how I usually do. I sell for let's just say 4 to 5 thousand, and if I would have held even for a few hours longer, I could have made 30 plus thousand dollars. At first, that would bother me. The whole idea of man, like literally an extra hour of not selling, I could have made 4 times what I just locked in. When you're in the moment, that's honestly probably the only thing you think about. But as I slowly grew past the mindset of regret or hopes or the I wish this would have happened a different way, you fall off on the idea of like, I just had a good ass day. Like, forget the money, forget the percent gain. Like, I executed where I had to. I sold where I said I would because that was my plan. I didn't plan for it to run an extra 40 points on SPX. I didn't plan for this contract to run another 200% from where I sold. Why are you upset about what you didn't prepare for? Because then, like I was just saying a few minutes ago, next trade you take, you're thinking about selling where you said you would, but then you think about yesterday. I mean, I sold when I said I wanted to, and I missed out on X amount of dollars. I don't want to sell right now. Next thing you know, you may be red, or maybe the trade instantly starts to go against you. Now you're questioning, okay, maybe I should just get out at 100% gains and just forget about the big win. You sell at 100%, it bounces right back, and now you're up 500%. So you always have these intrusive thoughts that happen in the moment, not realizing past thoughts are changing that, or the future uh illogical idea of that I could make X amount of dollars, I'm not going to sell right now. You have to be in the present with everything. You have to understand nothing is guaranteed in the market. Nothing is going to happen your way every time. So you have to manage the risk and the reward. You can literally control everything. Like when I say that, people are thinking, well, yeah, I know I buy and sell. I'm like, no, it's more than just buying and selling. You literally control how you feel about your loss. You control if you want to make more money making $500 a day, which just like an FYI, that's 2,500 a week, $10,000 a month. That's that's pretty good. But some people look at the bigger traders. Man, he made 10,000 a day. Why can't I do that? You are not at that stage yet. If you try and aim for that, you're going to fail because you're going for bigger outcomes than what your account may be allowed. Maybe your knowledge is not prepared yet. Maybe you're not just in the moment to get what you want yet. So you have to keep growing to get there. Goose said, losing helps me better prepare the next time I encounter the same situation. And that's exactly what has to happen. Losing sucks. Like, don't get me wrong. When I when I had a mentor tell me, like, get used to losing. Understand that when you lose, you have to smile. Growing up, I don't know about any of you guys, but like for me, when you lose, people don't cheer you on. Like no one claps for you. That's not how it works. So when you come into trading with that same mindset, like me, I was always a huge sports person growing up, playing sports, watching sports. The loser doesn't get rewarded. No one remembers the loser half the time unless like it was like a huge impact you made, whatever, whatever. So when you have that same mindset coming into trading, you take a loss and it's like, why should I be happy? Like I just lost money. Like forget about losing. I just lost actual like money. US dollars, whatever currency you trade, like you just lost finances. Why am I happy? So I had to literally overcome how I thought about things. Like literally read books, get mentors that understood psychology over just teaching charts. People don't teach mental nowadays. So I'm happy with everything that happens. I lose $2,000. I'm happy because I prepared for it. If I only plan to lose 500 and I lose 2,000, like, yes, I should be pissed off. I should be upset. Why did I lose an extra 1,500 that I was not planning to lose? See, I made a mistake. I have to fix it. I'm not just pissed off. I lost 2,000. I'll make it back tomorrow, closing my laptop. I have to review. And that's where it sucks. Ego comes in the way of it. You have to learn from those mistakes. And Elson said, got to learn from the losses to grow. We learn every day. Every day is growth, no matter what happens. Red or green, you're going to learn from something. And said, nowadays, wins don't even make me happy. It's weird. If things are not in your plans, you are not don't have you don't have any right to be upset. When you lose, you have no right to be upset if that's in your plans. You followed your plan, and regardless the outcome, you did what you should have done. So I want to go back to what Ange said, the second one. Well, no, the first one. He said, the winning days now, I'm not even happy. It's weird. So this is something that I tell people I think I remember me and Ange talking about this. He told me like I had my first green week and I feel nothing. Like I'm numb. Like, why do I feel this way? Is it good? Is it bad? Help me. Not He didn't say that, but it was kind of like help me understand why I feel this way. Is this good? Is it bad? When you come to terms with the outcome of anything in like life, trading, family, whatever it may be, you're prepared either way. So it's kind of like let's say you're about to have a kid and you're prepared, boy or girl. If you're only thinking, I want a boy, like I do not want a daughter. When you have that daughter, your whole world falls apart because you only plan for one side. In trading, if you only plan for a win and you lose, you are not emotionally prepared for what like is going to flow into you from the emotional side. Like, why am I so upset? Why am I losing and mad about this? When you prepare both ways, you don't have emotions. Like, I understand people are like, how do you lose and not feel bad about that? Like, you just lost. Well, I planned to lose. Like, it's not something I can explain to someone. It's just you understand it. If you're at that point in your trading career, you size to lose the money that you put in, whether let's say you size $200 and your risk is the whole position. So if that trade goes minus 99%, you're not looking back thinking like, dang, I messed up. You plan to lose 200, you should be smiling. And if not, you have to readjust. Maybe I size less. Maybe I sell for 50% loss and I only lose $100. When Ange told me this, I broke that down to him. When you prepare both ways, when you understand I can lose or I can win, there's no emotions because you understand what you see on the chart is what's going to give you your outcome. You can't control it. You control where you buy in, you control where you sell for a loss, or you start trimming, you take profits all the way. That's all you control, but that's an in the moment scenario. You don't just plan, oh, I'm going to sell for a 20% gain. That's it. You're down 30%. You don't know what to do because you didn't prepare for it. You had no risk associated. So going into the next topic off of what I just said, you have to remind yourself over again, what is going to work best? What do I have to do to basically have no emotions, to make my trades be successful, to give myself low risk, high reward? Overall, no one really thinks and breaks this stuff down from like a personal standpoint. Everyone has different emotions. Everyone thinks different. Everyone processes things different. Some people learn from listening. Some people learn from reading, from writing. They need a visual, like a pie chart or something to see to know like what it means. You have to know what your style of trading is. How are your emotions with life before even looking at trading? Are you a patient person? Do you understand that for you personally, what works best is when you prepare for things well before they happen? Are you a last minute type of person? You really have to understand who you are to put those implements into a system. That way you enjoy what you do. It fits your personality. So you're not like forcing yourself to change when you don't want to. You have to come to terms with who you are. So when you figure all that stuff out, that's when it's just repetition. Literally, when you find a system, everything you do comes up with this is right, this is wrong. I have to constantly repeat what's good and what's bad. I have to constantly repeat to not do that. The minute you fall off track of, oh, like this could be the big trade, I'm not going to sell right here. Right there, you just change your whole system before entering. Your level was hit to sell. Now you're saying in the moment, which you did not prepare for beforehand, I'm not going to sell here. I'm going to keep holding. You're not repeating what the system was. At that point, you're falling off track. That plan is now basically diminished and you're going off in the moment instincts, which are going to be emotionally triggered. And that's one of the hardest things to overcome. When you're emotionally triggered in a trade or just with anything in life, you don't think clear. You don't make decisions based off logic. You make it based off what's going to be best for the emotions you're feeling in the moment. So when you know I have to sell here, just get out. If you can afford to leave runners, leave a few, let them do their own thing, but you can't save a whole position and hold it because the past told you man, I sold here last time and it kept going. That is not guaranteed to happen again. So totally understand now. That's what I was messing up, changing my mind. But now sticking to my plan, it feels great, even with my small wins instead of bigger gains, less anxiety too. So that right there is extremely big to speak on. Mostly for people to understand, like, man, I'm taking small losses, but I feel so good about this. I'm pretty sure if anyone here, if I gave you guys two choices, I'm gonna type this out actually. So let's say you have two choices. So let's see if I can do this right. There we go. So one, so you consistently make money. That's your first choice. Let's actually do this. Consistently make small game money. Stress free, no emotions. Uh, Stress free, no emotions, no anxiety. Scenario two. So you hit big sometimes, but you lose on and off, you know? You make 2,000, but you lose 15. You make 500, but you lose 600. The one up here for number one example, you make 200, you lose $20. You make 400, you make 100, you make 50, you make 200. The losses rarely happen, but you're not making huge results in the moment. Number two example, when you hit big, sometimes you're not hitting big every time, but you also lose as well. And I'm actually going to do lose big. You're stressed. You ruin your day outside of trading. Um, say negative mindset. People want this feeling emotionally. They want to hit big, not realizing you hit big, you lose big. There's no proper risk. There's no emotional standpoint because you are not prepared to lose X amount to make X amount. No new trader is focused on this right here, consistently making small gain money or just making money in general. All they want to do is make 10,000 a day, 5,000 a day. They have $1,000 account. They want to make $2,000 in a week. It's possible, but you can't only size proper and make $2,000 in a week unless like a major move happens. So these choices, this is a huge positive thing if you can get to this point. The number one example, you're making small money, but it's like what Taryn just said. You literally no anxiety, or at least less anxiety. I don't want to say none because even myself, when I trade, I still feel it every once in a while. But it's the idea that you're consistently making money with less stress. You don't have as many emotions. Your anxiety is lower. So outside of trading, your overall life is better. Everything you do is very calm for you. Uh, I'd go with one all day. I don't like the down days of choice two, too stressful. Yeah, Goose. Literally, when I like this was me personally. I don't know if other people have also been in this, but I know other mentors I've had. Like, I'm very big on learning from people that are farther ahead than me because, like, your emotions are going to change as you grow. New things come up you never thought of, yada, yada. So, one of the biggest things I ask is like when you've hit that next level of trading, like you went from making, let's say, 1,000 to 2,000 to making 5, 6, 7, 8,000 a day, 10,000 a day consistently. Did you ever like lose track of what you were actually planning every day? Like, did you fall out of the system when you first started seeing the visual results? Like, you had more money, so you could risk more money. Did that ever like get out of hand? And you went back to this example of a person. You would hit big because you size more, but you also lose more. And majority of the people I ask this to, they get in that mode, they get in that mindset of kind of like, okay, I'm up 20,000 this week, and usually I make 20,000 a month. So I'm making basically I made the money I make in a month 25% of the time quicker. In a week, I made what I made in 4 weeks. And they would say, like, yeah, like when I made more money, I'd want to risk more. I'd feel like I knew what I was doing. I felt more entitled to size heavier. And that's normal. Like a lot of people, they get into that point where like they've imagined being in this standpoint, being able to size 5,000 a trade, properly size 5,000 a trade, not like you have 10,000 portfolio, you're sizing 5,000. I'm talking like you have 40 to 50,000 and you're able to size 5,000 properly. They do that, but they hold a trade longer because they have more money to deal with. They're not worried about losing because they just made X amount of dollars in a week. So many people that I've asked this to, they get in that mindset, but immediately when they realize I'm losing money because of this, my system's not working out, I'm getting emotional, I'm losing more than I've ever lost before, they'd rather stick to making the normal money than having to lose more to make more because they're not emotionally ready to take a $4,000 loss when they usually take an $1,000 loss to make 3 to 4,000. So they like get to that point of realization. I'm not ready for this. This is not going to help me. Ange said, I read a quote from Warren Buffett. I'm sure it's from him that he would rather a more volatile P&L curve than a consistent one, but I might be talking out of context. What's your thought on it? So yeah, I've heard that quote before. I'm not sure if it was Warren Buffett or not, but I do know what you're talking about. Many people, they want to see like, can I draw? I don't think I can draw on this. Is there like a freelance thing? I don't know if there is. A lot of people, they want that quick straight up. Like, you know how a half pipe is for like a skateboarder, like a down pipe? They want that movement going up. They want their portfolio to gain quickly. But Warren Buffett, I'm pretty sure it was him. He just wants that steady incline. Only up, slight pullbacks, but only upside long term. That longevity growth. Small wins every day build up over time for 20, 30 years from now. So my thoughts on that, I'm very big on I'd rather just make money. I don't care about making X amount of money. I just want to be profitable. The whole goal that when I trade, I think about I just want to make enough money that I would basically make if I worked a 9 to 5. If I can make this is more than a 9 to 5, obviously, but if I can make $500 in a day within 2 hours and then be done by noon, why do I want to keep trading? Most jobs you're there until 5 p.m., 4 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m., and you don't even make $500 in a day. So why do I want to keep trading? That's when I'm trying to get back to the topics and everything, but that's when I found a system for me. Because when you find a system, and this is also a topic I feel many people, when you say that, it's like, well, I don't want trading to be boring. Like, it's exciting. I want to feel that rush. True successful traders, they get that rush because it's a system that they know I can lose or win. But when they win, it worked out. As you win and you get comfortable, you can size heavier to make more money, but you also risk more money. When you find your system, trading tends to be boring. It's repetition wise. It's the same thing every day. You wait for a proper setup, you take it, win or lose, you're happy with the result. It gets boring. You don't chase plays. You don't have FOMO because you know not to do that kind of stuff. At that point, you have to understand, okay, I have to wait for a setup. I have to wait for this trend. I have to wait. Notice how I keep saying wait. It's not I have to find something. You're waiting for this setup. You're waiting for your system to align where you can sit here before taking a trade and literally plan out, this is my risk. This is my reward. I'm going to wait to enter at this specific spot. That way, win or lose, you already calculated what's going to happen. Yes, it's going to be boring because you may not hit 1,000% gains. You're not chasing a play out of hope or out of FOMO. You're planning off of a system, which may be boring. But I'm telling you right now, boring trading lasts the longest. Longevity wise, you're going to make the most money because that hype playing, that chasing stuff that you know isn't for you, eventually it catches up and you hit backtrack zone. You take 5 steps forward just to take 20 steps back. Then you try and chase that 15 steps forward to get back to where you were. Next thing you know, you're taking 5 more steps back. You can't let that idea of like euphoric feeling take away a proper setup and what you know you have to do. So the biggest thing that I'm sure all of you feel the same about, and I'm going to bold this and underline it, don't follow the crowd. When I say don't follow the crowd, I'm not saying they show you a system and don't do what they're doing. I'm saying don't follow what you see. People post the good side of everything. Not many people are transparent. They don't show the losses. They don't show the struggle of studying charts at 2 a.m. They want you to see what they worked for. So when you see $50,000 days, $100,000 days, maybe even just $1,000 a day, that makes you feel a certain way. And it's not that you're jealous or you're upset that they're doing it and you can't. You just force scenarios trying to match what they're doing, not realizing it, to make 50,000, they may have sized $80,000 into the trade, and you can only afford to size $500. You are not going to make $50,000. It's possible, but you're not just going to make it because, oh, I'm going to do what they did. You have to understand correlation with percent gains, the correlation with sizing to what you make. If you only go off what you see and not knowing the backstory, you're going to chase stuff that you literally, logically, and like realistically, you can't do. It's literally impossible. So if you try and follow the crowd from a visual standpoint, the success of a trade, you are going to be completely disappointed. You're going to demolish the way you feel. You're not going to want to keep doing this because you're comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. They are ahead because they were once where you were, probably thinking the same thing. I wish I could make as much as this person. They cut that mindset out and realized I just have to make 200 a day. I have to make 500 a day. But soon that 200 and 500 is going to be 2,000 and 5,000. And then soon it will be 20,000 and 50,000. As you make money and you figure out what works best for you, you can size heavier as you grow along in the journey. To lose money right away, why size heavy? You have to lose to learn. So why not size light and take those losses while learning the process? Don't take a good week and think you got it down finally. You're going to keep losing, but manage risk to keep the losses lower than the wins. And then tying this back to one of the most important things, stick to what makes you have no emotions. All of you, and I highly recommend this, you have to figure out what ticks you off when you trade, what makes you upset, what makes you like flip a switch to, I hate this, I'm so upset, I should have done this, I should have done that. Figure out what makes you like tick with trading, what makes you upset, and stop doing it. Stop having that mindset. Stop taking that play that you know you shouldn't do. Even if you win, but when you lose, you're more upset than the wins, you have to stop doing that. When you finally learn to trade without emotions, it's literally treated like an investment. It's not a game. It's not a casino. You are going to be so shocked where you're at in 5 years. And I'm not saying that because, like, oh, if you just are smart, you'll make money. You're still going to lose. So you have to size proper, know when to sell for a loss. But if you can keep emotions out of the picture, you're never going to technically have a bad day. Every day is going to be good. No matter how you look at it, how you feel about that, no emotions is going to keep you in the game longer. And that's just how it is. If you understand that, if you focus on that long term, you're never going to be upset with an outcome because you think you can't handle it or withstand it. When you comprehend, okay, I can lose today. Understand that. Every time when I help people one-on-one, I try and give them advice and they tell me like, how do you feel about this trade? And first thing I say, how much do you want to size in? And they tell me, I say, okay, what's your stop loss? And many people are like, well, I'm not really thinking about that. I think the chart looks pretty good though. Okay, so this is when I break it down to them. And I'm also going to type this out. Let's go just above this right here. So let's say I ask someone like, how much are you sizing in for this trade? Let's say they're sizing $500. And I ask them what the risk is. So when I ask people what's the risk, and let's just say, oh, well, I'm not sure about the risk, but the chart looks good. I'll figure out what I'll sell for a loss if it goes that way. Okay, so me being me, which I'm very bland, I like to get to the point. I'm very hard on people I see potential in. I just straight up tell them this question right here. If you lost the whole 500, how would you feel? If they're not going to manage the risk, I might as well tell them, okay, so say the whole position goes to zero. How would you honestly feel? Most people tell me, oh, I don't care. Okay, well, if you don't care about losing 500, you're size proper. But if someone tells me, like, I don't know about 500, but I can risk like 250 or $200, okay, so I tell them, if you can only risk 200, one stop loss, well, let's say 250 just so it's even. I don't want to do too much math right now. Stop loss is minus 50%. But if you don't want to deal with the stop loss because, oh, I sold last time for 50% and it ran 200%, I don't want to deal with that again. Just size $200 in the position. Now, when I say this to people, I'm not exaggerating at all when I say this. I'd say 80% of the people come back and say, well, what if the trade works out though? I'm only size 250. I could have been size 500. Why are you only looking at the positive side of stuff? That's important. I get it. But if you lose and you're upset, you did not plan for what's important. That's the losing. You have to plan for the loss before just, well, what if I would have made money? I want to size 500. I don't want to only size what I'm willing to lose, which is 250. You need to comprehend the fact that sizing less is not limiting what you make. It's literally to limit what you lose. I never look at the positive side of trading because I don't care about that. I'm more worried about and more emotionally attached to losing than winning. I'd rather win and make, let's say if I make $1,000 and I lose 200, I'm more focused on what do I have to do to stop losing $200. I don't care about making 1,000 every day because like that's natural. If it goes green, I let the chart do the work. For a lost trade, I'm controlling when I sell. I'm making sure I don't lose more than I should. So I'm trying to limit my losses and not just focus on how do I keep making $1,000 a day, because I could lose $1,000 in a day. I'd rather plan for the losing side. So I tell people, size what you can lose. Even though you may not hold to lose that whole position, I recommend sizing what you emotionally can only withstand to lose. That way, when you're down 60%, 70%, you're not entitled to sell right away. Yes, that's a major loss. I get that. But think about it. You're sized way lighter than usual. If usually you size $1,000 and your risk is 20%, imagine just sizing $200 and letting the chart work out. Yes, you'll make less money, but think about the better side. You're risking less money to possibly lose. As you size light and you start working into positions, this is when stick to what makes you have no emotions. The less you size, the more intact you are with, well, the chart says this, so I'm not going to sell yet. You don't care about the P&L. The P&L will literally ruin everything. It'll make you sell early. It'll make you sell for a loss when the chart is still holding in your favor, but you don't want to risk losing more money. If you just size proper, you're not focused on P&L. You're only looking at the chart. Think about this example real quick, and then I'm going to move on to the last part of what I want to talk about. Say you have a $1,000 position. You sell for 30%, which equals $300. You sold for 300, not I'm planning to sell 30% is my goal. My risk is 15% loss. My reward is 30% gain. 1 to 2 or a 2 to 1 risk to reward. I'm fine with this. What if I told you you could size, let's say $150, and you don't sell for 30% because you're sized for what your risk originally was for this $1,000 position? Risk is minus 15%. So you're sized for your risk. I'm just going to use the example of SPX or SPY because they move good. I know you can use this example for regular stocks, but SPY and SPX for the ones that understand how it moves, you know it can give you good returns. You can hold longer if you can emotionally withstand it. If you oversize, or maybe you just size proper $1,000, you're up 30% right away, but the chart looks like it can go farther. It can go higher in your favor. But you're up quick, you just want to get out. You sell 30%, next thing you know, it's up 500%. Imagine sizing what your risk is. You're up 30%. Up 30%. See if I can do this math. That should be what, like $45 or something? Yeah, perfect. So you're up $45. A lot of people say it's only 45. I'm not selling yet. Forget about this right here. I'm going to hide this just so you don't look at that. You're not even looking at P&L. The chart shows strength. You're still holding. Forget the P&L. Forget how much you're up. The chart is bullish. I'm in calls. I'm not selling. This is what you would have sold if you followed the above example. You size 150 and you, God dang it, I hate when this happens. You size 150 and say the play goes 500%. You held that long because you were only sized $150. You could withstand not selling right away because this is your risk. The whole trade's your risk. So you're letting the chart play out. The chart's still bullish. You're holding your call position. It's still holding trends. You're not selling. So you hit 500% play. And Perez, I thank you for doing this for me. Oh, hold on. That's not going to be right. That's going to be 750. So you make $750. Is that should be right? Yeah, 750. So you make $750 back. No, you're good, bro. You're good. So you size 150, you make 750. Your risk was your entire position. Now you're thinking sizing only the $1,000, selling for $300 profit. Man, if I would have held the 500%, I could have made 5K, but profit 4,000, whatever. Returns total, you would have made $5,000. Now you're looking at this saying, I'm not going to sell next time. Why not just understand the fact you can size light and make more money? Forget about this scenario of hype and, oh, I could have made X amount. When you size to only play the chart, to have no emotions, when you size $1,000 on a $2,000 account and you're up $300 that quick, you're oversized, first of all. So I know you're going to be watching P&L. There's none of this BS of, oh, I didn't even look at P&L. I just saw a huge green candle. I wanted to get out. Why would you sell if the chart is showing that heavy of strength? It's in your favor. Let it play out. Oh, well, what if it pulled back to zero and I was up 300? Now I'm back to only at break even. I could have made $300. Well, then if it goes 500%, you're going to be pissed off. Imagine sizing to lose. I'm not saying you size like, oh, I'm going to lose. It's whatever. Just throw it in there. You are expecting to lose the whole position instead of only risking 15% stop loss. So when you're up 30%, if you're looking at P&L, it's like $45. I don't want to sell right now because you're sized proper to let the chart do the work. When you're oversized or just sizing heavy in general, you look at P&L and you're like $300. Oh yeah, I'm done. I'm happy with this. 3 hours later, holy crap, I would have made $5,000. Why not size less to potentially make more money with less stress, less emotions, no anxiety? You're not worried about the money you could lose. I would rather take this example all day, every day. No questions asked. The reasoning behind that, if I'm wrong on the trade, I only lose $150. If I'm wrong on this $1,000 position and I sell for minus 15%, what if the position goes plus 200%? Then next time you're down 15% where you should sell, you keep holding because you don't want to, quote unquote, I don't want to miss out on what I just had yesterday. Why not just size proper? Imagine making $750 on a $2,000 portfolio, sizing $150. If you told anyone I made $750, let me bring this down here. Take that off. Next page. If you told someone $750 profit, oh geez, come on. Account was at $2,000. I guarantee they are not going to believe if you say you sized $150. They're going to say, how much did you size? You must have full ported. You have to understand it doesn't matter about, oh my gosh, I'm only in $150 though. It's not worth it. You just made $750 because you're trusting the chart. You're letting the chart play out. Now, when you tell people or show like I made $750, they're going to think you size 1,000. They're going to think you size $2,000, the whole portfolio, not realizing you size what usually you risk. And you let the trade work out. You just gain confidence. Now you're going to take the trade next time because, oh, well, if I size light, I don't feel emotional about if I'm wrong or right. The chart does the work for you. So going on to the last part, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. So I typed this last minute because I was kind of reviewing what I was preparing for you guys. I just wanted to say this real quick. So positive energy always leads to positive decisions. Understand when you only surround yourself with an environment that never brings you down, your mood will shift in a positive way. Basically, it's going to help you get your life together in a way that most people dream but never get that because they're so stuck on, I don't want to grow. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to deal with all that strain and sorrow. Surround yourself with only good people and activities you truly need to grow. Enjoy the process while learning and losing. That is what will get you to the next step. As you hit that next step, you will find out there's more growth needed that you did not know about yet. As you grow, more of the unknown, quote unquote, is revealed to you to grow from and to learn from. Growth brings you more uncomfort in decision making. So the last thing I'm going to say, and then if you guys want, you can start typing questions you may have, but I'm going to read this quote that I found real quick. Growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere that you don't belong. I completely understand trading's difficult. It sucks. It's hard. It pisses me off. It makes me upset throughout the day. I don't know if I'm ever going to figure this out. The biggest thing I don't want to deal with, like I said earlier in this recording, I never want to get to a point in my life where I look back and I tell myself, like, man, I wish I would have tried. I wish I would have had given up so soon. The idea of staying, like, I never thought I'd get to where I was right now. I didn't think it was possible. I used to dream about it and joke with buddies that I don't even hang out with anymore. Like, imagine if we ended up doing this, if I ended up doing this. Oh, that's crazy. Like making 5 figures in a week, that's not possible. If I'm surrounded by people that only think of, in their standpoint in life, logical, realistic things to happen, I'm never going to get there. So when I started hanging out and talking with other traders that make 5-6 figures a week, 5-6 figures a day, 7 figures in a week, I was thinking about stuff that I never knew was even possible, but I'm seeing people do it now. So now when I think about this quote, I don't want to be stuck somewhere that I don't belong. I know that I can do more than what I'm surrounded by in the past. I knew there was more for me, and I didn't want to deal with like not staying somewhere, but like just the idea of I'm going to stay comfortable forever and just never grow. Like enjoy life, find things that make you happy, cut off stuff that holds you back from growing into who you want to be. Like you can control everything. Trading, life, everything is in your control. And the growth is going to be painful. The change is going to be very painful because you're not used to what you're trying to grow into. So you're going to have mistakes along the way. That's how you're going to learn about all this. But nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere where you don't belong. You all can make this work. Like I truly believe that because I used to be the same way. I didn't understand shit, basically. And now that I'm here, I can basically try and help you guys understand what I was never taught that took me 3-4 years to get to where I'm at, mentally, especially. Trading the system, you can find it anywhere on the internet, but not many people talk about the mental side, the psychological side, the emotional side, because not many need to feel that way when they're making money from other stuff outside of trading. When all you have is what you control, you really have to stay intact with who you are and what you want to become. Just Breezy, do you use hard stops or technical stops? So yeah, Ange answered that, but I'm all about technical stops. When I do use a hard stop, I only use a hard stop when I'm oversized in a position. I enter knowing I'm oversized, so I use a hard stop so that I'm guaranteed to only lose what I want to lose in the process. God's plan for real though. Turtle soup, hey turtle soup, bro. We like it. I appreciate you, Perez. I thought today we a down day. I had no clue we can rip that high. My PLTR up 460. I'm glad that I never expected this. Do you guys have any questions before I pause this real quick? If there's anything that I should include into this recording for other people that are not here. Yeah, so I use technical stops. I use technical stops. Overall, when I size in, I use technical. I only use technical because I'm not losing based off how I feel. I'm losing based off what the chart did not present to me with what I was expecting. That's the biggest change that I did for me personally. When you use a hard stop, sometimes the contract will chop and the value will drop lower than where the actual stock chart is. Maybe the stock chart is still in your favor, but the contract is losing value. So your hard stop gets hit and then you're still thinking the chart's in my favor. Why did I have a hard stop in that position? So I'm always doing technical and mental stop. Like I was saying earlier, if I oversize, I will use an actual hard stop only because I don't want to put emotions into the fact of I know I'm oversized. I'm not going to sell for loss manually because I may not follow it as heavy.